Okay, someone please tell me if I'm going insane. My boyfriend, ex-boyfriend, I guess, of 3 years just detonated our entire life over a joke. One single stupid joke. The kind of edgy thing you'd hear on a comedy special, not a declaration of war. But to hear him tell it, you would have thought I'd committed a war crime right there at the dinner table. And now he's gone. Packed his bags in under 10 minutes and walked out of the apartment we built together, leaving me with nothing but silence and the echo of a slammed door. He's treating me like I'm some kind of monster, a villain. He won't answer my calls, my texts, nothing. I've been blocked on every platform. It's like the last 3 years meant absolutely zero to him, like I can just be deleted with a click. The absolute worst part of this whole nightmare is that I was doing it for him, for us. I love Jordan God, I love him so much it hurts, but I saw a weakness in him. I saw a future where his gentle nature would get him, and by extension us, crushed. The world isn't a gentle place, especially not for a man like him, and I was just trying to prepare him. To show him that he needed to be able to stand up for himself and for me. Is it so wrong to want your partner to be a fighter? I'm sitting here, staring at the empty space where his PlayStation used to be, and I just can't connect the dots. How did we get from a loving couple planning a future to this crater? So please, read what happened and tell me honestly. Am I the evil person he's making me out to be? Or did he just throw away everything we had because he's too damn sensitive to function in the real world? I need to know, let me be clear. Jordan is the kindest, most decent man I have ever met, but sometimes that's the whole problem. He's gentle to a fault. He navigates the world with this soft-edged optimism that I find both beautiful and terrifying. You have to understand, I grew up in a world where you had to have sharp elbows just to keep your space. He grew up with a loving family that taught him to turn the other cheek. It's admirable, but it's not realistic. I'm talking about the little things, the everyday battles that he just concedes. Like the time our neighbor, a real piece of work, started parking his massive truck so it blocked half our driveway. I was ready to go over there and read him the riot act. Jordan just smiled, that placid smile of his, went over and politely asked if he could move it. The guy grunted something and barely budged. Jordan came back and said, "Well, I tried, it's not worth a fight." Not worth a fight, it was our driveway. Or the time we went to that expensive new restaurant for my birthday and my steak came out cold. Not lukewarm, but genuinely cold. The waiter was dismissive and Jordan just sat there patiently trying to flag him down. He wouldn't raise his voice, wouldn't make a scene. He just said, "They're busy, I'm sure it was a mistake." I wanted to scream. I wanted him to demand the respect we were paying for. Instead, he ate his own meal slowly while mine was eventually replaced, long after the moment was ruined. These things might seem small, but they add up. And honestly, it kept me up at night. The world can be an ugly place, and I worried constantly that his refusal to be confrontational would get him hurt. As a black man, he doesn't get the same benefit of the doubt that I do. I saw his gentleness not as a strength, but as a vulnerability, a target. So I made it my mission, in a way. I decided I had to help him develop that edge, that bit of street smarts he was missing. I had to show him that sometimes you have to fight. His parents were coming to visit for the first time since we moved in together. He worships his dad, Michael. Michael is this stoic, impressive man who built his own consulting firm from the ground up. He's the epitome of quiet strength, the very thing I wanted Jordan to embody. I thought, this is it, this is the perfect opportunity. If Jordan could stand up for me, for us, in front of the man he respects most in the world, it would be a real breakthrough. It would prove he was ready. The evening started perfectly. Honestly, it was like a scene from a movie. The apartment was filled with the warm, inviting smell of the roasted chicken I'd spent all afternoon on. Jordan's mom, Eleanor, a woman with a laugh that could light up a room, was telling a hilarious story about Jordan trying to build a treehouse as a kid. Jordan himself was glowing. He was so proud to have his parents in our home, so happy to be bridging the two most important parts of his life. Seeing him like that, my resolve only hardened. This was for his own good. His dad, Michael, was everything I expected. He had a quiet, commanding presence. He didn't speak much, but when he did, everyone listened. He carried himself with a deep, unshakable dignity that I admired, the very dignity I felt Jordan hadn't yet learned to project. I watched them interact, and I saw the deep well of respect Jordan had for his father. This was the crucible. If I could create a situation that forced Jordan to act, to show some of that same strength in front of Michael, it would be a turning point for him, for us. I know it sounds calculated, but it came from a place of love. It was like watching someone you love walk toward a cliff's edge without realizing it. You have to do something, even if it means shaking them to wake them up. I just needed to create a little friction, a controlled social fire to see if he would finally step up and be the protector, the defender. The opening came during dessert. Michael was talking about the old neighborhood, about how it had changed, but how the sense of community was still strong. He was describing a new community center they had just opened, a project he had personally helped fund. He was so passionate, talking about giving the local kids a safe place to go after school, to learn music, to play basketball. It's a beautiful thing to see, he said, a rare, wide smile on his face. You see these kids full of potential and you just want to give them the tools to build something good for themselves. My heart started pounding. This was it, it was the perfect setup. It was personal, it was about his home, his people, it was the ideal pressure point. I let a little laugh escape, aiming for something light and teasing. I leaned forward, placing my hand on Jordan's arm. "Oh, that's just wonderful, Michael," I said, my voice dripping with what I hoped sounded like playful sincerity. "A place for all the kids to hang out, that's so important." I paused for effect, letting the silence hang for a beat, then I delivered the line. "Let's just hope they soundproofed the walls properly, for all the bass." I let the word hang in the air, loaded with every stereotype I could muster. I wasn't just talking about music. It was a dog whistle, a nod to loud cars, to a certain kind of culture I was pretending to be innocently ignorant of. I looked around the table with wide, guileless eyes, a perfect picture of a clueless white girlfriend who just said something a little tone deaf. The effect was instantaneous. It was like a switch had been flipped, plunging the warm, happy room into a cold, dead vacuum. Eleanor's smile didn't just fade, it collapsed. She put her fork down and her hands went into her lap, her expression suddenly unreadable. Michael stopped moving entirely. He didn't look angry, he looked tired. He slowly placed his knife and fork parallel on his plate, the quiet click echoing in the silence. He looked at me not with fury, but with a profound, soul-crushing disappointment that was 1,000 times worse. But I wasn't looking at him. My eyes were locked on Jordan. My whole body was screaming at him internally. "Do something, now, this is your moment, defend me, tell them I didn't mean it like that, laugh it off, change the subject, be the man of this house. Show your father you're strong enough to handle this." He just sat there, his face ashen. The glow he'd had all night was gone, replaced by a look of utter devastation. He didn't look at me. He couldn't, the silence stretched on, thick and suffocating, and in that moment I wasn't feeling regret. I was feeling a surge of furious, desperate anticipation. I had set the stage. All he had to do was play his part. The silence wasn't just awkward, it was a physical presence in the room. It was heavy, suffocating, pressing down on all of us. I could hear the hum of the refrigerator, the distant wail of a siren, every tiny sound amplified in the vacuum my words had created. I kept my expression plastered with that same wide-eyed innocence, a mask of oops, did I say something wrong? But underneath, my blood was fizzing with a strange mix of panic and righteous expectation. "Come on, Jordan, do it." Michael was the one who broke the spell. He didn't look at me again. He turned his gaze, full of a quiet, weary sorrow, to his son. He didn't have to say a word. His eyes said everything. "This is who you chose. This is what you allow in your home." Jordan finally moved. He pushed his chair back, the legs scraping harshly against the hardwood floor. His face was a pale, tight mask of something I couldn't quite decipher: humiliation, rage, heartbreak. It was all there, churning just beneath the surface. He still didn't look at me. He looked at his parents. "I'm so sorry," he said, and his voice was raw, like it had been scraped over gravel. "The evening is over, I'm going to walk you out." Alina stood up immediately, gathering her purse without a word. Michael rose slowly, a man carrying an immense weight. As they walked to the door, Alina paused and gave me one last look. It wasn't angry, it was pitying. That look stung more than any shout ever could. Jordan walked them to their car, and I was left alone at the table with the remnants of our perfect dinner, the silence now ringing with failure. When he came back inside, he closed the door with a soft, deliberate click. No slam, no drama, that was worse. The control he was exercising was terrifying. He walked into the living room and stood by the window, his back to me. "Why?" he asked. His voice was unnervingly calm. This was it, the confrontation. I stood up and walked towards him, my pre-prepared arguments swirling in my head. "Jordan, honey, it was a joke, a stupid, clumsy joke. Your dad was talking about the community center and it just popped into my head. I didn't mean anything by it." He turned around slowly, and for the first time that night, he looked directly at me. His eyes were dark, and the warmth I knew so well was gone, replaced by something cold and brittle. "Don't lie to me, Serafina, not now, you're not that stupid. You knew exactly what you were saying, you had that little smirk on your face, you were waiting for it, I want to know why." The accusation in his voice, the fact that he saw right through my act, sent a flare of anger through me. The victim act wasn't working, so I switched to righteous indignation. Fine, I said, my voice rising. You want to know why? I did it for you. I'm tired of watching you let the world walk all over you. I wanted to see you fight for once. To defend me, to show your father that you're not some pushover. I created a tiny, harmless conflict to see if you would finally, for once, have my back. I expected him to yell, to argue. Instead, he just stared at me, a look of dawning horror on his face, as if he was seeing me clearly for the very first time. You used my parents, he whispered, the words barely audible. You used my father, the man I respect more than anyone, as a prop in your sick little test. You brought a disgusting, racist stereotype into my home, you humiliated my family, you humiliated me to see if I would fight. He let out a short, incredulous laugh that had no humor in it. My God, you really don't get it, do you? My justifications felt so powerful in my head, but hearing them out loud in the face of his cold horror, they started to sound flimsy even to me. But I couldn't back down now. That would be admitting I was wrong. Get what? I shot back, my voice defensive. That you'd rather let someone insult your girlfriend in front of your family than cause a minor scene. That your comfort is more important than my dignity. Yes, Jordan, I think I'm starting to get that very clearly. He shook his head, a slow, deliberate motion, his eyes never leaving my face. Your dignity, you destroyed your own dignity the moment you opened your mouth. You think strength is about yelling at a waiter or confronting a neighbor. You think it's about making a scene. He took a step closer, and his voice dropped to a low, intense register that was more intimidating than any shout. My father built a life for us from nothing in a world that was actively hostile to him. He did it with integrity, with intelligence, and with a quiet strength you couldn't possibly comprehend. He taught me that real strength isn't about how loud you can be. It's about having a core, a set of principles you don't compromise. It's about respecting yourself and the people you love enough not to debase them for sport. He gestured vaguely around the room at our lives. You didn't just insult me, Serafina. You insulted my mother and father. You insulted their home, their community, everything they worked for. You took the very foundation of who I am and you turned it into a punchline for your twisted social experiment. His words were like a series of clean, sharp blows. I felt my anger deflating, replaced by a rising tide of panic. This wasn't going the way it was supposed to. I just wanted you to be strong, I stammered, the words sounding pathetic and weak. I am strong, he said, his voice flat and final. My strength is in my patience. My strength is in choosing my battles. My strength is in knowing that my worth isn't defined by some cheap, racist joke you tell to get a rise out of me. He paused, and his expression was one of profound, irreversible finality. We're done, Serafina. We're done because you don't love me. You love the idea of me, a project you can fix, a doll you can mold into your image of what a man should be. But you don't respect me, and you just proved you never will. The words "we're done" hit me like a physical blow. I started to cry, real panic tears this time. No. Jordan, no, you can't do this. It was a mistake, a horrible, stupid mistake. You can't throw away 3 years over this. I reached for him, but he flinched away from my touch as if I were red hot. That small movement broke me. I went from pleading to furious again. You're seriously doing this? You're going to throw everything away because you're too sensitive? It's just a joke. You're being ridiculous. He didn't even bother to argue. He just looked at me with those dead, empty eyes and said, "Goodbye, Serafina." Then he turned, walked into our bedroom, and I heard the click of a suitcase latch opening. The sound was so final, so absolute. He wasn't yelling, he wasn't crying, he was just leaving. And I stood there frozen as the life I thought I was improving was dismantled piece by piece in the next room. It's been a week of sitting in this too quiet apartment, staring at the empty spaces he used to fill, the indentation on his side of the couch, the hook where his keys used to hang. He took everything that was solely his, and he did it with a surgical precision that feels crueler than any mess he could have left behind. There are no traces of him. It's like he was a ghost. Of course, I called my best friend, Amelia. I called her in a hysterical fit the night he left, sobbing the whole story down the phone. I expected sympathy. I expected her to say, "He's overreacting, he'll be back." I expected her to join my chorus of outrage. Instead, there was a long, uncomfortable silence on the other end of the line. "Amelia, are you there?" I asked, my voice thick with tears. "I'm here," she said, and her tone was off, distant. "Serafina, what the hell were you thinking?" "What do you mean?" I asked, bewildered. "I was trying to help him." "Help him?" Her voice was incredulous. "By telling a racist joke to his parents? Are you insane? That's not helping, that's unbelievably cruel." It's humiliating. I'm honestly disgusted. I felt a cold shock, disgusted, my own best friend. You don't get it, I snapped. You don't know what he's like, he's too soft. I was just. Stop, she cut me off, her voice firm. Just stop trying to justify it. You messed up Serafina royally. You didn't see Jordan for who he is. You saw him as a project, and you used the people he loves most to make a point. He has every right to walk away. Honestly, I'd have done the same thing. We haven't spoken since that call. She's seen my texts but hasn't replied. Another person deleted from my life. So now I'm here talking to strangers on the internet because my own friend has abandoned me. And the more I think about it, the more I replay that night, the angrier I get. Not at myself, at him, at Amelia, at everyone who doesn't see my side of it. I did what I did out of love. A tough, messy kind of love, maybe, but love nonetheless. I was trying to build a better future for us, a future where he was strong enough to stand by my side. And what did I get for it? Abandonment, silence. He didn't even have the decency to fight for us. He just packed his bags and ran like the coward I always feared he was. So you know what? Fine, let him go. He clearly doesn't deserve me. He doesn't deserve the effort I put in, the nights I spent worrying about him. He can go find someone who will coddle him and tell him he's perfect just the way he is. I'm going to find a real man. A man with a backbone, a man who isn't afraid of a little conflict, a man who won't crumble at a single stupid joke. I wasted 3 years of my life on a project that was doomed from the start. Good riddance.